A scatter brush is a brush that we can create ourselves that has some kind of graphic that will follow a path once we draw it. So let's go ahead and get started and create a scatter brush from scratch. I'm going to go ahead to my tools here and I'm going to grab a polygon. And what we're going to do is we're going to create something like one of those nuts or bolts. So this is going to be the top of it. And actually I'm going to put another thing in the middle of this. I'm going to grab a rectangle here just to add a little bit of that place where the screwdriver goes, like so. And let's go ahead and give these guys a color. So we'll give this one a gradient, and we'll give this one a gradient as well. So we have our tool top. I'll go ahead and group it. And what we're going to do now is we're going to open up our brushes panel. I'll tear this off, and as you can see we have quite a few brushes in here already. And we can go to this little arrow here if we want to, and we could choose to create a new brush this way. Likewise, we can also drag our artwork right on inside of this panel. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key first, and I'm going to scale this graphic down. So what I'm going to do is take this guy and drag it right on in, and then I'll be asked what kind of brush I'd like to make. So I'm going to choose scatter brush. Hit OK. And then it's going to tell me here that this artwork contains an element that cannot be used in a scatter brush. And chances are good it's that gradient. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change the color to gray. I'll change the inner color. Let me go ahead and ungroup it. Object, ungroup. We'll grab the inner one and we'll make this one a lighter gray. Let's group it again and drag it on in. Now we have our scatter brush options. So as you can see, we can name this. I'll just go ahead and call it bolt. And we can come back here later on to change the size of this brush. Now typically I don't change it here because I need to see what it's going to look like on the stroke that we're about to draw. So let's go ahead and say OK. And you'll see that we have our new brush right here. If you hover your mouse, you'll see the name of your custom brush. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. Actually, you can delete it if you want to. Now I'm going to grab my pen tool, or I can grab any tool I want to. I can grab pen, I can grab the brush, pencil. I'm going to go ahead and just draw out a stroke like so. And with it still selected, let's go ahead and click one time on our new scatter brush. And now we have our custom artwork following this path. Now here's the fun part. We can really make this random so that the bolts are going in different directions, they're different sizes, and so on by, once again, double-clicking on the bolt to open up the scatter brush options. Enable the preview by clicking right here. And now let's go ahead and play around. First of all, we have some parameters that we can change. The size of each brush, the spacing, which is how far apart or close together each one of these instances of the brush are, the scatter, which gives us a little bit of a jitter or kind of a little bit of a scatter on the line itself, and the rotational value. We can make these all fixed, which means they'll look pretty boring, but they'll follow the same path and be the same distance apart, or we can make some random changes by going here. And when you choose random, you'll notice that this side of the parameters lights up. What this means is we can change the size, and we can say, all right, scatter brush, I want the smallest size to be 48%, and I want the largest size to be 128 or 223 or whatever you want. So you can really randomize it to your own liking. So we have a nice distinction here in between sizes. Likewise, they're all evenly spaced apart. Let's go ahead and change that too. So we'll give a random spacing, and let's go ahead and do a scatter. Last but not least, let's rotate this a little bit. So we have -129 or whatever into a different rotation. So that we have all kinds of different things happening here. Now I'm not really happy with the spacing, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that back to fixed. And as you can see, they come back into little clusters. I'll go ahead now and hit OK. And now I'm asked to apply the stroke immediately or leave the strokes. So I'll go ahead and apply this. And now we have our own custom scatter brush. Use the scatter brush when you want to create things like leaves, marbles, clouds, or anything that needs to repeat often in your document.